Hey everyone, so this is Catfish, the TV show, season 5, episode 18, um, titled Catherine and Graham. So the catfishee is a girl named Catherine, and the person she feels is catfishing her is a guy named Graham. So the story is 18, maybe 19-year-old Catherine has just finished her first year of college, and she's living in Port Jefferson, New York. Um, Apparently, that's on Long Island. I don't know. I don't know if that's actually factually true or not. I didn't look it up, but I'm gonna assume it's true that it's on Long Island. Um, anyway, so she's fallen in love with this guy named Graham who lives in Nashville, Tennessee. She found his photos and started talking to him as opposed to the catfisher talking to the catfishee. Um, she found his pictures on Instagram, but started talking to him on Twitter. Um, or it only started talking to him on Twitter and everything. She didn't talk to him via Instagram, as we will later find out. Basically, then, as per usual, the issues started coming up. The one big issue is that um, they've never been able to video chat successfully. Meaning, in this case, there were two things that would always go wrong with video chat. Either his front facing camera would never work, or whenever he was able to get on video chat, the screen was pitch black, where she couldn't see his face or anything. So, um, and she realizes that the front facing camera can't be um, broken for as long as it has been, because because they've been talking for 2 years. That's what we find out, is that they've been talking for 2 years, and it can't have been broken for that long for no apparent reason. And there's no way he could not have gotten another phone with a new camera on it. Um, anyway, so she says that there is no official title to their relationship, but she kind of wants to get an official title, like boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, whatever, because she seems to always run back to him whenever there's something going on. That's why she wants the official title and everything. So she, um, that's why she wants to meet up with him. And so basically she's like, it's now or never, because I kind of want to, like, see if he's for real about me. Anyway, so after reading the email, as per usual, Neve and Max call her on Skype, and they ask her about Graham. And so basically she tells them about him, like basically what she said in the video or in the email. She typed in country boy on Instagram, and that's how she found Graham. Um, they have since talked frequently. She says he's her first love. She was supposed to go down to meet him in Tennessee, but she backed out at the last second and didn't go, because she felt insecure about herself. And now apparently he thinks that she is the catfish rather than the other way around. Um, and she said that she wants to be with him, and said she's willing to transfer schools to be with him. Basically meaning she's willing to go down to Tennessee to be in school with him, or wherever he's gonna end up going to school, because he's gonna be graduating high school when this episode was being filmed. So anyway, so that's basically all she says before they hang up, and Neve and Max go to Port Jefferson. And when they arrive to her house the next day, and go to the living room, they go to the living room and ask her about her major, and talk about all this stuff. And she says she can't really be a doctor because she can't do blood. She can't be a teacher because she can't deal with little kids. She says that she was going to join the army, but at the very last second changed her mind because her mom got not only thyroid cancer, but skin cancer and breast cancer as well. And her mom had to have a spinal fusion. I don't know what that entails. I've never had to deal with that, so I don't know what that means. I don't even know. I can't even say what I think it means because I have no idea what that could possibly mean. I mean, obviously it has to do with something to do with the spine, but I mean, I don't know what the fuck that entails. So anyway, because of her mom's various cancers, she has gotten depressed because of it. And when she got in contact with Graham, he pulled her out of it. And apparently they fight about a lot of things. One main thing is that she likes to drink and party a lot. And that to her, going to parties and drinking is a daily or a weekly thing that she does on the weekends. And it's basically just a normal weekend for her. Graham, on the other hand, he doesn't do that, and so whenever he voices his displeasure of her doing that, she feels like he's judging her because of it. And then she explains again why she didn't go down and meet him. It's basically the same exact thing, except maybe paraphrased differently. Then Catherine shows them Graham, and apparently he posts a lot on Twitter and stuff like that, but doesn't necessarily comment about her on Instagram. He claims he doesn't have a Facebook, but Neve and Max is skeptical about that because clearly anybody who's between the ages of 14 and 26, at least at the maximum age, at least has a Facebook page. I've had a Facebook page since I was, I think I was like 13 or 14. I think it was about 14. So I've had a Facebook page for the last 10 years at least, because I'm 24 now. I turned 24 early this year, but anyway, that's besides the point. My point is, I've had a Facebook page since I was at least 14 years old, if not since I was 13. So anybody who was born in the 90s or as early as as late as 2002 has had a Facebook since they were at least 10. I don't want to say 10. Well, maybe not 10, but anyway, anybody who was born before 2002, but after 1990 has a fucking Facebook page. So I mean, why he doesn't have a Facebook page? No, that doesn't make any sense, because everybody who was born between 1990 and 2002 has a fucking Facebook page. So that's sketchy as hell that he claims he doesn't have a Facebook page. So the next day, after they leave Catherine's house, Neve and Max goes to a coffee shop as per usual, or to like a tea shop or whatever. And they look up the phone number first. I find it's from Jacksonville, Florida. Then look up his Instagram, but she hasn't directly talked to the account, so they wonder if she's talking to the real Graham. They didn't check his Twitter, and since they know that she's been talking to the Twitter account. Excuse me. Neve says that someone could have made the fake Twitter account without the real Graham knowing. They then look him up on Facebook and see that there is actually a Facebook page for Graham. Like I said, ain't no damn way some 18-year-old is not gonna have fucking Facebook. I mean, Facebook pretty much replaced MySpace, because MySpace was a big thing back in like 2003, between 2003 and 2007, and Facebook pretty much boomed in like 2007. because I think it was actually started in 2004, but I don't think it got any traction until about 2007 when I was in high school, because I was a freshman in high school in 2007. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think that's when Facebook started to become a really big thing, was back in 2007. So, um, but yeah, like I said, ain't no damn way some 18-year-olds not gonna have fucking Facebook. I mean, it's rare for anyone between the ages of 14 and 26 to not have a Facebook page. It's very rare, especially since those people, the people in that age range have grown up on the internet. It's not that, I mean, my father doesn't have a Facebook, and he's like 50, he's like over 50 years old. So I mean, I don't expect him to have a Facebook page. I mean, so whatever. I mean, I get it, because he didn't grow up in the internet age and stuff like that. So I expect him to not have a Facebook page. But anyone who's under the age of 26 should pretty much have a Facebook. So clearly that was a lie. Anyway, let's see. And they after looking at the Facebook page for a few minutes, they feel like it's pretty legit. So Max suggests that they reach out to some of the people that are in contact with the various social media accounts like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and they message. I believe they showed the messaging to particular people. One of them is named Reynolds, and Reynolds is one of the people who or is the only person who contacts them back, and they get a call from Reynolds, actually, and so Neve explains, after getting him on FaceTime, that he explains to Reynolds that this whole situation with Catherine and his friend Graham, and he wants to know if his friend Graham has ever had mentioned anyone by the name of Catherine. Reynolds is like, no, I've never heard of that, heard of her. Then they ask him if he knows of anyone who, or any time previously to when they're taping this episode, if his friend Graham's photos have been used to make a fake account. And Reynolds is like, no, but a while ago, my friend Graham's had his Twitter hacked twice. And that Graham had never found out who it was. So Max then reads off the number Catherine has for Graham, to compare it with the phone number that Reynolds has for his friend. And when Max reads it off, Reynolds is like, no, that's not the phone number I have for my friend Graham. Then when then Eve is like, hit me up if you have any new information about this whole thing and everything. So then they get off the call and kind of speculate a little bit about everything. Then they go back to Catherine's house, tell her of their research, and after they tell her this stuff, Neve's like, well, because Graham is using a Jacksonville number, that it could possibly be someone who is in his close circle of friends. The second option is that Graham is keeping Catherine extremely secret from everyone in his life. And then Neve then calls Graham outside on the phone, as per usual. And then when Graham answers, Neve tries to get him to meet Catherine, and then eventually Graham decides to meet up with her. So once he's back inside, Neve explains the phone call and how Graham seemed kind of cool about things, um, and it felt weird. Well, no, he says what he says about it, something feeling weird is that while he's explaining the phone call to Max and Catherine, he gets a text message from Graham saying that he's not comfortable meeting at his house, and so he wants to meet at a local park in Tennessee. And so that's what Neve says is weird, is that he decides to not want to meet at his house. Like, what's going on? Um, so the next day they make their way to Nashville, and after I'm not sure exactly if it's the next day after they arrive in Nashville or if it's the same day they arrive, and they just drop off their things at the hotel that they go to the park. But they end up going to the park way by this lake, and they at first they think there's this woman that it was a woman behind it, because there's this woman coming up. They don't show her face obviously because it's not her, but they think that it's her because she's kind of walking towards them but not directly at them or directly to them, but it ends up that she's just walking past them in that park. Then there's this you know truck with that's missing a grill in the front of it, and it's kind of pretty much speeding towards them. So they assume that the person driving the car is the person behind the profile, if it's not really Graham. So, but it turns out it's not that person either. It's just they drive past them. But then they end up waiting. I don't know how long they wait, but eventually they realize that Grandma's not showing up, even though they've texted him and called him multiple times. So they just decided to leave. And the next day, they go to Catherine. Neve and Max go to Catherine's room, and they ask her if she's contacted Graham. She says she sent him a text message the previous night about 9 p.m. And she said that it's now or never to meet me. If you want to meet me, you have to do it while I'm here, because if not, then I'm not gonna meet up with you ever again, I guess. And so Neve was like, well, because you sent him a text message, he might have contacted me back. So he looks at his text messages, and Graham has sent him a text saying that his family's out of the house, and he's gonna have the house to himself. So here's my address, you can come over. So they go over to his house, and apparently it's like a really nice house. It does look really nice from what I could see. And Neve knocked on the door, and lo and behold, it's the real Graham. It's the actual Graham that was in the photos, which is very rare for it to happen, because I think this only happened like 5 times, maybe less than that, where the person who was in the photos was actually the person who the catfish she was talking to is the actual one, or is actually talking to the person in the photo. So he says that his family showed up yet the previous day, and so he couldn't exactly just get up and leave. And Graham says that no one knows about Catherine. Graham says that his old phone on his front-facing camera really didn't work, because even though and that he still has the phone, and still using it. He says he has a new phone now. I don't know why he didn't just use that, but he doesn't have an excuse for not using it. He just wanted just being a fucking dick at this point. Max says it's another BS excuse, like him staying home the previous day. Max demands that Graham be a man and explain the real reason why he wouldn't video chat, and Graham doesn't have any explanation for it. He just was being a fucking dick by not video chatting with her. Max asks if Graham even cares for her, and he's like, "Of course I care for her. I'm not in love with her, but I do love her." Neve asked why he would say things about them being together in the future, like in an actual committed relationship, if he wasn't in love with her. And Graham was like, well, it was just supposed to be a lighthearted sentiment. It wasn't supposed to be like, I'm actually in love with you and want to have your babies kind of thing. So Max says he isn't owning up to leading her on, and Graham's like, well, yeah, I didn't mean to lead her on. I mean, I may have done it, but I didn't mean to lead her on. Max and Catherine then step away to the car, and while they're both in the car, they both say how much BS this shit sounds. Like, the stuff that's coming out of his mouth just sounds like total BS, and it's, yeah, I'm not gonna argue because I agree, because it sounds like total BS. I mean, what's the point of saying I love you? I mean, when you say that, most people would assume that you mean that I'm in love with you, not just I love you. Like, it's not like I love you like a sister or brother or mother or father or whatever, or like a child loves their parent. It's not like that. Most people would assume that you mean that you're in love with me, type of thing. So, that's what's like she's hung up on. And so basically she is mad that he would so blatantly judge her, yet look what he's doing to her right now. Why is it that he's so willing to judge her, but once basically he's acting like he just doesn't care about her and being a jerk. And so she feels like he isn't owning up to what he's doing, basically, and Catherine feels like he's a spoiled little brat who has had everything handed to him. Catherine and Max go back out into the house, and tells him point blank she's mad, because he basically fucked with her head. Like, he basically did. He may not have meant to do it or realized he was doing it, but that's basically what he was doing. You're basically saying, you didn't say, oh, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. You didn't say that. Like, you didn't make it clear that's what you were, like, that's what you meant. You should have said, because, when you, naturally, what people are going to assume is, when you say I love you to you, and you're not like a sister, like a blood sister, blood brother, their parents, their aunt, whatever, if you're not related to them, people are going to assume you mean that you are in love with them, not just love you like a parent loves their child, or a child loves their parent type of thing. They're gonna assume that you're in love with them. I can't stress that enough. So she's gonna assume that's what you mean. So I get that he's 18 years old at this point, so he's young, but still, I would assume that teenagers would know this too, but I guess not. Anyway, he apologizes. I don't know how sincere it seemed to me. It kind of seemed like it, but it kind of didn't. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about his apology. Anyway, so they leave the house shortly afterwards, and then 2 months later, Neve and Max call Catherine on Skype, and she doesn't talk to Graham much anymore. And she's focusing on herself right now, which I think is very admirable, because I feel like any person who kind of goes through this kind of needs to focus on themselves for a little bit, because especially after finding out everything, and how much of like just basically all the information that's uncovered about the person that has catfished them. So yeah, I think that is a good call on her part to just focus on her for a while. Um, so after they talk to her, they don't they don't Skype with Graham, but they get some information from him about how he's excited about starting college, and how he hopes to, be friends with Catherine again one day. So that's the whole episode. Like I said, I don't really know how I feel about the whole apology thing. Kind of conflicted. I kind of feel like he is kind of sincere. I mean, he seems like he's a little bit sincere about it, but not completely. I don't know if that makes any sense. But as usual, this is just a typical Catfish episode, with a little twist that he's actually who he says he is. With that said, I saw the little 30 minutes, or not 30 minute, 30-second clip at the end of the episode of next week's episode, and it's actually a guy who thinks he's being catfished this time instead of the girl being catfished, because I think pretty much every single well, no, because we had Spencer, but that was the only one since we gotten back into the swing of things with Catfish. So there's a guy named Luis, or Lewis, I'm not sure. I think it's Lewis. I may have just said Luis for no reason. But yeah, so Lewis it has been talking to this girl named Sydney. I don't think they said how long in the clip that he was talking to her, but he's been talking to this girl named Sydney, and he feels like he's being catfished by her. They say something about forgery in the clip, so possibly she's been arrested. Possibly the person who's catfishing him has been arrested. But typically what happens is when you see when Catfish puts in their preview clips of the potential catfisher having anything to do with the law or getting arrested or something, it usually means that that particular avenue of investigation doesn't have anything to do with the actual catfisher. So, because I think it has something to do with like legalities and stuff, and how, I mean, and everything. So I don't know, but usually what happens is if they find something out about the catfisher having trouble with the law, it usually is false and bogus, and it's not true, or it has something to do with someone else entirely. So, but who knows? This might be a first where the catfisher. Well, actually, there was that a few episodes back with I think it was Anthony, Larissa and Anthony, where Anthony had trouble with the law, but I mean, that was like one instance where the catfisher was involved with having gotten in trouble with the law. But this might be another exception where the catfisher is in trouble with the law and might end up going to jail because of it. Who knows? But nine times out of 10, what happens is when it seems like the catfisher is in trouble with the law, it seems like it is, but it's not really the case at all. It has something to do with someone else entirely. But it also seems like the person in the photos or it turns out, it seems like like the person in the photos isn't the one who's actually talking to Lewis. It's actually someone else. So it looks like it's actually like Lewis is actually being catfished, because the person in the photos has had her photos taken and used for fake profiles before. It seems, because that's why they kind of explain that a tiny bit in the clip. So I'm excited to see next week's episode, and glad that it's kind of it's a guy being catfished again. And it's a regular episode of a guy being catfished, as opposed to Spencer being thinking he was in love with Katy Perry. So I still have issues with that dude. Like, I don't know why the fuck Spencer thought he was really talking to Katy Perry, but still have issues with that dude, and how he would not just, accept the fact that he wasn't talking to the real Katy Perry. I'm still hung up on that, because I'm just like, come on. Like, anyway, that's I said my piece with that, and when I made that video. That said, I will see you guys next week in next week's Catfish episode, and please do not hesitate to engage with me in the comments below about this episode, and hit like if you like this video, hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will link in the description box below my Patreon page where you can watch this video beforehand, or any other video I post on YouTube before it goes up online, because now what I'm doing is I'm scheduling for my videos to be released at certain times on certain days, so that that way I can put them up on Patreon and let my subscribers and let my patrons see them before they go up. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.